Alright, what's going on everybody? So we're back working on the wagon again today. You guys saw last time we got the engine bay painted. I've just been kind of working on unmasking everything and bolting this stuff back up. Just put the bolts back in here, got my wipers, put that thing back in there, put the cowl back on. I think I'm gonna have to adjust this wiper again, but it's hard to get them on the right splines. I just quickly sat the Sti booster in here so you can put the pedals in. I can kind of see how everything's going to line up. I found this grommet here to cover my throttle cable plug because I'm going drive-by-wire. So got that plugged off. The clutch master is going to go right there. I lost one of these grommets for the heater core, so I got to find a new one. But yeah, it's coming together. Once we get all this stuff together on here, we can start working on the ABS delete. But next we need to add these pedals in here. Start working on the inside. It's kind of a wreck in here. But I got the iWire pedal adapter for the drive-by-wire cable, or drive-by-wire pedal. So let's get that stuff put in here and we'll go from there. All right, so this is our iWire pedal adapter. So this should just bolt on up there for this, and then allow us to bolt on the drive-by-wire pedal. This is from the 05 STI, so I need two hands to do this, but let's get this bolted up. All right, there it is. The factory pedal stop on there. You gotta make sure you have that, so you don't want to overthrow the pedal. That's it. Bolts up like factory. So now let's get our other pedal assembly in here. So these are the pedals I'm going to be using. These are actually like 98 Outback pedals because they're hydraulic and they bolt right into these first gens. I just swapped over the sensors and the pedal covers from the STI pedals. So they look exactly the same and it should plug into the harness exactly the same. So these just bolt up in there and holds our clutch master and everything too. So let's do it. All right, we got the pedals in here. Everything's bolted up like factory. Everything, just gotta put the clutch master in there. But yeah, here's my pedals. It lines up there in the factory spot. Yeah, pretty nice. Let's put the clutch master in there and see how all that lines up. All right, just got that bolted up. There's a nice little hole already here for this guy down here. So it bolts up just like factory. This is the one from the STI. So STI booster master, STI clutch master, and it's all hooked up like stock. You see it on the inside here. There it is. So I did need to order some shifter bushings so I can put the manual shifter in there because I still have the automatic shifter in there just to plug the hole because I don't want a giant hole, you know, in the center console, so water and stuff can get in. So once those bushings come in the mail, I can put that in there. Start prepping the subframe, just chipping away at this thing, start getting parts put on. All right, so I just test fit my new radiator in here. This is the aluminum Coilovers made for the Turbo Legacies, manual only. So with the stock fans hooked up to it, looks pretty nice. I did notice a couple days ago is that the front subframe is bent from the accident, so I picked up this thing. This is from an 07 STI, but it's kind of rusty. But these things are getting really hard to find, so you gotta take what you can get, really. So I sanded all this and I put rust converter in all this, so it's all, you can tell it's changing colors. So I'm gonna hit this with some high temp 2000 degree spray paint just to kind of cover it all up, make it look a little bit nicer. Nothing seems to be too structural, so it should be all right. But what was also weird is that the steering rack that I had looked like it was from like a WRX or something. It wasn't the right style, so I also picked up a 07 STI steering rack to go with this because the mounting points are different. Like it has a circle mount instead of a square, and then this one actually has like a bolt thing that goes in there. So yeah, so we're gonna paint this up real quick, get it ready to go on. All right, got it all painted up. I used some header paint. It's good to like 2000 degrees, but I went with a flat black, so it looks a little funky because it's flat. Usually they're metallic, or glossy finish, but it looks pretty good. Should be good for a while. Hopefully I don't have to replace it later on because of the rust, but I sanded all of it off and converted it, so it should be okay. Alright, I went ahead and threw the subframe in here. Just torqued those bolts to 80 foot-pounds. And I went through and I painted pretty much the whole bottom of the car. So I used this rust converter, like Rust-Oleum paint. It's really nice for this kind of stuff. You can see. Probably missed a few spots. It's still wet, so it's kind of shiny. But yeah, here's the 07 STI subframes in there. I don't have the steering rack in it yet, just because I'm gonna have to line up the steering shaft and center the rack and all that. So, and I'm waiting on some new steering rack bushings. I got a white line kit coming, but it's coming together. The radiator in there. I also did like all inside the wheel wells. Just painted all this stuff just as a, you know, an extra protection against rust and all that stuff, because like these are coming out. New control arms are coming out and all that shit. So wanted the chassis to be good. This inside here, the paint's been coming off, so I'm gonna re-roll these fenders, get all this sanded back. And I'm probably going to use like a paintbrush with the paint I already have and just reseal all that in there. Obviously use rust converter and all that. So, but I did the whole bottom. It all looks a lot nicer. Yeah, we're making good progress here. All right, some exciting news. I finally got my wheels. These took forever to get, just with everything going on with shipping and everything. Then my order was actually lost, so I finally got them in. I put just some junk roller, like super old tires I had on them, just as something for the car to sit on, because I don't want to put the car on nice new rubber and then just have it sit for the next year and have it rot. So before we drive it, I'll get nice new tires for these new wheels. But they're an Enki RPF 1, obviously, 17x8 plus 45. 5x114, since I'm going to the STI knuckles and everything. They should match the brakes pretty perfect, because they got they're gold with the red lettering, just like the brakes. So finally got these in. It took forever. I ordered these over 2 months ago, but so I got those. So next I'm going to be throwing in my control arms. These are brand new. I got these from Subaru. So we can put these in, and maybe the front coilovers, and just start getting this thing put together. Just threw these guys in here. I couldn't really film it while working on it with one hand, but just put those in there, 90 foot-pounds. These we have to torque with the suspension loaded, so I just got them sitting in there, but it's looking pretty good. Got the other side in there. Should save some weight with the aluminum control arms, and I think by going to the subframe it also widens the track about an inch or so. But yeah, it's looking great. I think I might throw the coilovers in and maybe the front knuckles. Start seeing what it looks like. Alright, I threw the coilovers in here and the knuckles. I did test fit it a little bit. The wheels poke quite a bit. I guess I miscalculated a little bit on my offset, but I've got both of them in here. I went ahead and took the brakes back apart because I don't want the rotors sitting outside while everything's kind of getting rained on and everything. So, but it's coming together. I need to start on the shifter. Come back in here into this mess. I'm gonna take this airbag module out, get the automatic shifter out, and I can start mocking up my 6-speed shifter. I just don't want to leave that hole open and kind of exposed, but it's getting late today, so I might have to stop working on it for today and come back in the morning. But yeah, it's looking awesome. It's starting to look like a car again. A little worried about the poke, but I think we should be able to pull these fenders without damaging the paint, and like roll them and just so you can see what it looks like, because I don't want to put it all back together. I will next time. Next video I'll put it all back together and do more test fits and kind of see how everything looks. I think next time we should be doing the steering rack. Hopefully the bushings are here so I can put the steering rack in. Then we'll have the wheels on there so we can kind of like figure out you know, where the center is on the rack, get that center to the steering wheel. So then when we go to align it, it's not off by, you know, a whole turn or something crazy. So but yeah, next time we'll also get the shifter sorted. I need to figure out the ignition cylinder stuff, because I need to make this STI ignition cylinder work on the legacy column. And so this is the legacy ignition cylinder, and these are shorter. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take this and cut these down a little bit so that the lockout actually makes contact. The spacing is right, it's just these are taller, because this one usually has a cap like this one that goes on top, whereas this one's built into the column. So I'll just put this on the grinder, grind these down, test fit it, we'll get that mocked up. That'll be for next time. Also, I mean, we're getting really close to, you know, starting to put the harness in. I want to start with the ABS delete and get the brake lines made and then run, because while we have all the room, we'll make the brake lines, and then we can go and start laying the harness, which is going to come out of that big hole right there and go across both sides and take up a lot of space. So I did get this, I think I showed this before, but this is the proportioning valve I'm going to use. The only problem is this one bolts to the right side, basically, like, so with the strut towers right here is in the way of this. So I think I'm going to modify this bracket. We'll cut this and flip it around on this side so it mounts on the left side, and then I can just make my own lines to run. These two go to the master, and then these have outputs on the bottom, rear output, front output. There's two for the front, one, you know, so I'm just going to make one output from each one of those, and then this one will go to the rear, and that'll go to a T. That'll just tee off to the rear. And I got all the stuff to make my own brake lines, all the tools and everything, so that should be pretty good. That's going to be a big project that I'm going to need my brother's help with, so he's a little busy right now working on his car again. He's got his motor taken apart. After about 2,500 miles, he started having a thrust bearing issue. It didn't make any noise or anything, but there's some thrust bearing play. So before it goes bad, we're going to take it apart. He's also doing a 6-speed conversion at the same time, so the garage is just chaos right now. He's also working on his front mount right now. He got this front mount from a Focus ST, so he's trying to make that work with the stock crash beam. And so it's a lot of work, but yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I made a lot of good progress today, so if you guys want to stay up on it and see this thing finished, you know, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.